What's going on? Welcome to another episode of the Impel Forward Podcast. I'm your host, Leon, and today I have with me a couple of guys. And today we're going to be talking about felons in the workplace, coming home, starting over, and is it still hard to find work in this environment, even though we have a felon in the White House? But I ain't even gonna go there. But anyway, let's go. Let me bring my guys in. What's going on, fellas?
What's up, man? What's up?
What's going on?
Ain't nothing. Welcome to the Impel Forward Podcast. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with I guess we'll start with Sean, man. Just tell the audience who are you and what you about, what you got going on.
Yes, my name is Sean Baker. I'm a community health worker. I'm also a recovery coach, peer support specialist, small business owner. Come from the history of being formerly incarcerated, 45 years old, spent 15 years incarceration, and now I'm a successful citizen.
What's up? All right, Will.
What's going on, man? I'm Will Elmore, published author, peer support specialist, certified recovery coach, owner of a small business, community-based landscapers, launching my own podcast, 58 years from prison to purpose. I'm just an average guy, man, done 25 years of incarceration, every day in the trenches, man, shoulder to shoulder with my fellow brothers and sisters that's dealing with the reality of what it means to be incarcerated. And like you opened up, man, we got a guy sitting in the highest seat of the land that's a convicted felon. I don't hear nothing else about no apartments or no jobs, man. We should have a green light.
That's right. All right, Kendall, go ahead, brother.
Yes, sir. My name is Kenneth Mee. I am a peer support specialist. I'm also a owner of a nonprofit organization that I have just recently started called Fair Chance Employment. I'm the baby of the group, but probably when it comes to time, I only did 3 years of incarceration, but I have a distinction of I was also a correction officer and I'm also a convicted felon. So I've seen both sides of that spectrum. And just like Will said, man, I'm just out here doing what I can do to help the fellow brothers that come home and sisters that come home to get themselves together, man, and have a productive life.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Edward Scott. I work at STSG Transition House in Durham, North Carolina. I am also a second chance employer with Will, community-based landscapers. We hire individuals coming out of incarceration. I am also a co-founder of an organization called Wounded Healers. We are also launching, me, Malik, and Will is launching a podcast called Bars to Breakthrough, 58 Years of Prison to Purpose, which will be aired pretty soon. Shaw will also be a host on the podcast as well. I'm a peer support specialist. I'm a community health worker. And like Will and Kenny and also Sean said, I'm a voice for the voiceless, man.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Now, how this came about, this gathering on this podcast episode, Scotto, man, you talked about the transitional home. And I think is it all right to call you Mecca or Will?
Yeah, that's fine. Mecca's fine. Mecca's fine.
I'm used to calling you Mecca. Now, is it your mother's transitional house?
Yes, my mother, she also runs STSG Straight Talk Support Group Transition House, and she's branching out into another one. That's the one that Scott is mentioning right now.
Okay, so the one that me and Scott talked about, the one that's was supposed to be the funding for the house was supposed to be canceled. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So is it still up and running now? Can you tell me about that?
Oh yes, the house is still up and running now. We kind of collaborated with Sean as well with Fit, because he also worked for Fit, and we kind of collaborate with the Fit organization. So we also are still getting donations, and we are still getting funding from certain organizations that's helping us, keep the transition house alive. So we're still doing what we're supposed to be doing for individuals coming out of incarceration. It's rough, but through the grace of God, we're keeping it running.
So what was the reason for the funding to stop?
Now that's a little bit above my pay grade. You know, when it comes to the paperwork and stuff like that. I mean, I really don't get into that much of I don't get into that much of what's going on when it comes to that. But I know that when it's time for me to put my foot on the ground and get to running and try to help, keep the organization up and running, for guys who's coming out of incarceration, that's what I do.
I could speak to that, Scott,
Okay.
if you will. Straight Talk Support Group had a contract with the state, and at the time, the relationships that it had developed with the contractors was very strong. Once those people transitioned out, moved up, moved to the side, new people take new seats. And usually, as we know in the prison system, when a new warden or superintendent come in, they take these things away. They want to put their fingerprint on how the camp is going to be run. And that's the institutionalized mindset. And then even in some of those state buildings in Raleigh, I guess federal is the same, maybe not. When new people get in these seats, they have their way that they want to do things. So the relationship was broken. No, a new relationship hadn't been reformed, and a lot of the finances was taken away from STSG. So everybody says that they know transitional housing is needed. Everybody says it's a great thing to have. So at this point, STSG was kind of seeing how everybody could work together to keep the house running. But like Scott mentioned, man, God's grace is going to be sufficient because God knows that we're doing this strictly from our hearts because we know we've been there. Fortunately enough, we all came home to a residence. Scott has a unique story. He was a resident at STSG. So this is a community need. So we're going to see how much the community can kind of put energy and contribute to it continuing to run.
Right. So, Sean, what was you a resident at the transition house they're talking about?
No, I'm not I wasn't a resident, but I'm also a partner with the transitional house. So I work for NC FIT, which stands for North Carolina Formerly Incarcerated Transitions, which started from the parent company of TCN, Transitional Clinical Network, which is nationwide. And the whole program is geared to those formerly incarcerated. And the number one thing is housing. So it was like one Saturday morning, me and the brothers, we all sitting down and they saying, hey, we got beds available. And I'm like, hey, let me talk to the director. And, I spoke to the director and we said, let's make it happen. So we've been utilizing their house for our program to show more support and also support the population in which is coming out and giving them the opportunity, to experience independent living, which can also be a great motivation to move forward and acquire their own living situation. So we tag team and work together with them with the transitional houses, in which they have. So it's a lot of barriers in between, but it's beauty in the end of the struggle, though.
Right. So what are the primary goals of a transition home other than helping former inmates get jobs in the community?
Well, everybody, not only that Scott was a resident there, Mr. Me, he worked there. And so everybody has their unique kind of piece of this puzzle. However, I learned from just choosing to be objective and kind of understand the business of it. When you run a house, whether you live there or whether people coming out of prison live there, you have bills you got to pay. You got to pay rent or mortgage. You got utilities, water bill, light bill, etc., food. So that's one thing. And then it's certain unique needs that the individuals need. If you have a house, some people have transition houses that don't have any programs. It's just going to keep you out of the elements. You could come in here, get you some rest, get you some water, and keep it pushing. Some transition houses elects to have different kind of programs. Some of them are mental health programs. Some of them are job readiness programs. Some of them are recovery programs, et cetera, et cetera. So if you have programs and you have staff, you have to generate enough funds to pay your staff and also pay the utensils and the requirements to keep the programs running. So it's a lot of intricate parts to keeping a transition house afloat. And again, Mr. Me and Scott, they could speak to you from different aspects because they both worked there before.
Yeah,
Uh,
I can honestly say, go ahead, Mr. Leon.
I was gonna say who Mr. Me is that you? I was gonna say is that you?
That's my
Mr. Me.
last name, me, M-E-E.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, what I was going to say, man, I started out as a monitor at the transition. That's pretty much what a monitor is just making sure guys are where they're supposed to be, making sure the house is straight, whatever. And then as I got into it, I Miss Elmore, which is the CEO of the property, sit me down, and she just, said to me, "Well, I see you're a monitor, but I can see where you have a passion about this job. What do you think about, transitioning to a counselor?" And I said, "If you believe in me, I believe in it." So I transitioned into a counselor, and once I transitioned to a counselor, pretty much when somebody showed up to a house coming straight out of prison, I would have to sit down and do an intake. Like he said. Fortunately for STSD, they wanted a transition house that has programs. So we would sit down and see if they had the GED or if they had a high school. So we did education. So if so, we would go ahead and get them lined up for vocational skills, vocational classes, any kind of medical. We'd get them. If it was mental health, we'd get them to the appropriate places. If it was just physical health, we'd get them to the appropriate places. But STSD, like he said, was very vital and from start to finish for whatever need that a person needed. We would do their needs on top of program with education up to some college courses of some of the things that we did. We would go into helping them do that type stuff.
So how do you go about finding the type of help? Do they come to y'all with a helping hand, or do y'all go out just looking and trying to see who will help?
I mean, I think if you want me to, you want to go ahead, Malik?
I mean, the only thing I was just going to say is Miss Elmore is very resourceful. So between her resourcefulness and then, like she said, volunteers or whatever, it is a lot of things to go to. And it's been a while since I've been there. So from here, I'm going to let Scott go even deeper into that. But when I was there, she would find ways, and it would be, volunteers up to, other organizations partner with her, like Sean was saying.
Yeah. I mean, he hit it right on the head. It's still happening the same way. From my experience being there, being a monitor and also living, I have noticed that a lot of people like to go online and look for other transitional houses to like step in and kind of like help a little bit. And every time someone comes from the outside that's want to support the transitional house, I always ask questions like, well, what made you want to come to STSG? And they might say, I heard so much about STSG. And I might say, what you hear about it? I heard a lot of good things about it. The educational part, how they help people with different types of medical situations, how they help people with do vocational classes, how to help people, file license, get license, ID. Like Sean, Malik was saying, Mr. Mead was saying, so I think that when it comes to the resources, like you said, Ms. Elmore is real resourceful, but it's other people that's outside of the community of the transition house that's resourceful too, because they look into the transition house, and then when they come there, I mean, it's just so much to give, because like I said, I lived there one time, and I utilized all the information that I had. I got my license, I got my ID. I was able to create different types of resumes. It was so right, exactly. So it's so much that this transitional house gives to you to be able to prepare yourself for your next transition.
Right.
Yeah, and just to touch up like on the resources. So I'm a community health worker, so we have to beat the streets for the resources. Pretty much boots on the ground. And it's like, you say, hey, who does that? Who does this? And it's either like, you don't hear of it because the information is not readily available. So for us, we have to get out in the streets and find out who actually is employing our population, who actually is going to work with our population so far as substance issues, mental health issues, who actually is going, just give our guys some chance on education, because the information is just not, hey, just readily heard of or properly known of. So in the midst of networking, all of us network, and every time I go in the community, I find a new resource, and I send an email, or I say, hey, I know a guy that's doing this right here, man, put it in your phone. And these are the resources. And also when you're showing up, face to face, and you find the resource face to face versus over the phone, it kind of give everybody a sense of idea. Okay, I can really deal with these guys. Versus they know the population they're really serving, because a lot of the resources they actually say they serve the population is also scared of the population too. So having us, on the forefront, what I'm saying, it kind of like, help them ease into the situation a little bit too.
Right. It's not. There's still a challenge. Is it harder or easier for felons to get jobs now?
It's still hard. It's a challenge, because at the same time, whereas in a lot of jobs saying they felon friendly, they really not.
Mm-hmm.
I would
It's just
say,
like,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sean. I'm sorry. I
yeah,
thought you.
and it's
Go ahead.
just like, and I hate to say, like, with certain employment places, like, we kind of like continue to use certain job opportunities because these are the ones actually easy to work with. The ones that's more difficult to work with and gonna add more frustration to the guys, we kind of like stay away from.
What I was going to follow up with that when you say that, what I will say, Brother Leon, is there are a lot more organizations that are doing more than when I got out 10 years ago. I went to a place called NC Works in North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina, and that's where I got my first meaningful job for. Well, full circle came back around, and I'm actually in a contracted program with them, with Wake LRC, which they have a program called Second Chance Employment Program, and I'm the peer support for that program. And what that program actually does is have a career-based jobs. The city of Raleigh, Go Raleigh Bus Systems, and many other different companies. And what they do, they put them through a course, and then after that course, they go through what their crimes are, because of course every crime you can't get every job, but they see what their crimes are, and they actually get these guys and girls $50,000 to $60,000 a year jobs, because based on this second chance employment program that is offered out of, like I said, Wake LRC in Raleigh, North Carolina. So my point to that is there is some programs that are helping. As Sean said, it's still hard because depending on what somebody is charged with, but there are programs that are a little bit more than when I came out. I came out and I went to NC Works. I'm a vet, Gulf War vet, so I went to the veterans program, and I had a guy that really put in some work for me and helped me get my first career job. But now, as I look back 10 years now, and that program wasn't there 10 years ago. So at least programs like that are there now.
Right. So how do inmates find the transitional houses? Are they assigned to a house? How does that work?
Well, from my experience, a lot of people call me from prison, and they ask, do you know anywhere where I could stay at? Do you know anywhere that I could get some help at? So most people that I talk to, they call me from prison. It's a lot of guys who get out and also call me, and they call me because they know somebody else that know me, or they might know Will, they might know Sean, they might know Mr. Me, and then we'll connect with each other. Also, trying to connect someone with housing as well too.
And along with them lines, the people that formalize the informal are the people that get the big bucks. For example, we done enough time collectively. We know a whole bunch of people that reach out to us and say, "Hey man, I'm coming home soon. This is what I need." So we'll beat the street up trying to find those things. There's somebody on the sideline to be checking out how we move, and they'll put a program together off our movements, off our energy. They'll structure it, they'll pretty it up, put it in a folder, and they'll go shop it around. And next thing you know, they coming out of there with a grant or some kind of check saying, "Hey, I formalized this reentry process." Stuff that we've been doing just naturally out of kindness of our hearts, out of knowing we've all been there and done that. When you process into prison, it's certain fundamentals you want to know. You want to know where the cafeteria is. You want to know how you can get some clean clothes. When can you make a phone call to your family? And who would it be the best staff person to talk to about your personal business? So if you know a homeboy or familiar with somebody in prison, and you're going to ask them these questions, they're going to tell you the best way to go, the best time to go, the best person to talk to, and all of that stuff, so you can circumvent some of the headaches. It's the same thing coming out of prison. if I'm not even from here, I'm from California and I'm getting released to North Carolina. I happen to be in Durham or Raleigh, and I see one of these guys, I'm gonna go to them and say, hey man, what's the best transition house to go to, man? I don't want no riffraff. I don't use no drugs. I just want to get a job. I do want some educational programs. They're gonna say, well, if that's what you're interested in, this is probably the transition house kind of fashion to your mindset. Now, if I'm in recovery, and that's number one, number two, number three in my life, there are transitional houses that are kind of more geared towards recovery. That's the primary theme of the structure of the house. So it's the same format, man. And you talking to four guys that's working every day on how to kind of formalize what we do and put it in the curriculum and the package, man, so that not only could we get paid for the work we do, man, we could make enough money so we could keep on recreating this format everywhere, state to state.
Right. Now it's called the transitional house. Transition from that house to being able to provide for yourself once you leave that house. How often does that not work for some, or does anybody ever leave the house and can they come back and need more help? Anybody can answer.
Yeah, most guys that leave the house, they can come back if they're left with I can say if they're left with good standards, and because we know that everybody's not gonna make it out there when they leave out there.
Right.
Some people just gonna leave because they want to leave. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just tired. But then you got some people that want to leave that's really trying to do the best they can, but just can't make it. So it's really not a problem for a person to come back that's really, really been trying to better himself in life. Why not give a person another second chance and try to get back on their feet if they didn't do it the first time? You know what I mean? Everybody not fortunate like that. So STSG serve for greatness, man. I mean, we don't throw nobody out. We don't kick nobody out. If anything, the person kick their own self out. But the individual that's trying to do what he's trying to do to better himself in his life, and he leaves the transitional house and he goes out there and he can't make it, yes, it's a possibility that he could come back.
And I would say, go ahead.
I think of it like leaving a job. Like you want to leave a job with a good name and a good report. So if you have to come back and reapply, you hopefully want to leave a good reputation at that former place of employment, so you could be even considered for returning. If you leave a job on bad standing, man, and like leaving a transition house, they're more than likely going to think differently about receiving you back.
And what I was going to say is the biggest thing. Even when I was a counselor, is when I would sit down with these guys, is make sure they understand this is a transition house. You're transitioning from prison to here to the streets. And what a lot of guys would say, and me and Will and Scott have laughed about this, is the structure. Some people have a problem with the structure because they think, because I'm getting out of prison, I'm going to this transition house, I can just do what I want to do. And we've heard guys even say, man, this is same as prison, is worse than prison. And we're looking like, what? What are you talking about? Because you got to have a little discipline and structure. And one thing that was great about STSG, she had on paper what was called a 90-day program, to where whatever they're needed from, like he said, IDs, bank accounts, medical, mental health, up to getting a job, she had a structure. But as Mr. Scott said, if it didn't happen as quick, they got extended. But as long as they're trying to do the things they're supposed to do, they got a certain type of things they're supposed to do in 90 days, there's always going to be, like he said, a chance that they're not going to leave in them 90 days. And most people don't, unless they have a family, a family that's there for them. But the biggest thing that I would say out of that is a transition house is a structure, and it is a transition. You didn't come here to live. We're helping you get ready from prison to here to be able to transition out. And with some of those, and with leaving out of here, hopefully we've got your ID, we got you set up your medical stuff, bank account, we got you some skills for a job, and you got somewhere safe to go once you transition from the transition house back to society.
So it's a 90-day process.
That was one of the things it was on paper, but as I just said, Even and she still has that process, Mr. Scott.
Yeah, she still got the 90-day process, but like you said, you hit it right on the head. If some guys get extension due to their situation, if they don't have everything, like Mr. Meek said, if they don't have everything in their jacket to help them with their transition, then what we'll do, we'll put that on pause, continue to help this individual. When I mean put it on pause, he won't leave. He would not leave without everything being set up for him to be successful, on his next transition.
Right. And I know from just me cutting hair, coming out, being a felon, and a lot of guys become barbers, or I might run across a lot of guys who've been to prison, but sometimes you can tell by their work ethic or them just trying really to succeed out there in the world after coming home from prison. Some of them don't really give it their all or try their best. And that's why I asked that question. Does that happen a lot in there where you see somebody who's really not trying? They know they got somewhere to stay. They're there and they just relax and not really trying to go out there and work and provide for themselves.
I think that's a good point, Leon. I think the peer support, having that mentor, having that person who was a little bit more forward thinking to know the difference. I mean, look, I think about sports, right? When I was playing basketball, especially when I was a lot younger, man, when the coach would call timeout and sit me down, and I'm like, why? He'd say, man, you need a breather. I didn't feel like I needed a breather, but him being a coach, watching me play, he knew by some demonstration in my play that I needed to sit down and catch my breath. A peer support specialist, when he's paired up with somebody coming out of prison, is like a coach. A peer support specialist says, look, man, I understand you just came home. I get that. You want to experience different things. You want to take a bath. You want to get a good night rest. You want to feel your way around. A good coach knows when to put the player back in the game, and a peer support specialist knows when to tell a new resident coming out of the joint, say, hey, man, put your helmet back on, man. You rested long enough, man. It's time to start taking the steps toward putting your life back together. Because a lot of times we don't, man. If you've done a long, lengthy sentence like myself, and you get out, if you're not naturally wired and motivated, man, to just keep grinding, you come out, man, you exhale, you take your jersey off, you take your cleats off, man, that's all you want to do. You kind of get stuck there. And if somebody don't kind of motivate you and continue to motivate you like a good counselor, a good peer support specialist, next you know, you've been sitting on the porch, man, enjoying the breeze for 6 months. You pass your 90-day curfew. Now you live at a transition house, man, you got rent to pay. Mm-hmm. Now you feel pressure. You gotta pay parole officer some restitution. Now it's pressure on you. Now you operating from a mindset of pressure. A good peer support specialist is your wake up call that reminds you, okay, man, all right, when you ready. So all those things are necessary, and because we got these firsthand experiences, we use that insight, man, to be great at what we do.
Yeah, and so that's what that's how I came up with the word. Well, I ain't come up with the word impel, but impel means to drive, force, or urge someone to do something, or simply to take action. And that's what I try to use it for, to inspire others as myself, that's been to prison, did time, to not only that, we have regular people who also have setbacks too, but, just to take action over your own situation, and move forward, and just get better as a person.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so how do y'all track the ones who do leave? Do y'all track and keep up with them, see how they're doing after they leave the transition house?
Yeah, most definitely. A lot of guys that leave transition house, they track themselves. They also call and say, man, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I got a job, I just got married or whatever, you know what I mean? So, but we do, we do track guys, just call them, see how they doing. It's just stuff like that, man. You want to keep that good energy going because so you never know when someone needs someone to talk to. You know what I'm saying? Because you got a lot of guys, man, that leave that transition house. When they leave, they feel like I'm gone. The transition house is over with. I have no more parts of that, and I don't want to call back and I don't want to say nothing. So it's good to sometimes just reach out on your own and just talk to them.
Right.
You have to keep a professional integrity as a peer support, but let's just face it. you're a human being dealing with another human being with having empathy for what that human being going through. So it's like he said, you can get a lot of the guys to call you back, man, and hey, man, this is going on, and just want to give you an update. And you may even get some guys to call back that ain't even one of your clients no more to say, hey, man, do you know anything? Or is it any jobs you know that helping in apartments or place? And, you know, as us three and me just meeting Sean, but as us four, I would say, has passion, because not only what we went through, but what we have chosen to do in life, we still go above and beyond without financial getting anything financially for it, to make sure we still helping these guys even outside of being clients of ours anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great though, like overall, like just the peer support connection. It exceeds 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. You know what I'm saying? It's and the tracking part, like, you know, you'll get a call 7, 8 o'clock at night, and the thing is, do I answer or I don't answer? Yes, I answer. This could be a life or death call, but in the midst, it's a check-in call just to say, hey, bro, I'm doing all right, man. I just wanted to see how you were doing. And, you know, just to keep up with the population in our community is very essential, because these are the same individuals that can open up new doors for other individuals coming out. And now we're going to pull them back into the circle, and we can get them the significant help in which they need. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's a big web of brothers being united, not only brothers, but sisters reaching back, tracking and staying in touch with each other to keep everybody uplifted and serving the population. So the tracking is very essential, man.
Right. Now, do y'all send them out themselves to get jobs, or y'all go looking for them or talking with them or helping them along that when they go out?
I think that depends on you as a peer support specialist, as a counselor. You have to use your sensibility to kind of get an assessment of the individual's mentality. You have some guys come out, they don't need as much hands-on assistance. They just need some polishing up on the resume. They pretty much interview ready. You could ask them, you want to do some mock interviews. How do you feel? How confident you feel about the interview? Some of them you go right there with them. They want you there step by step. So it's a balancing act between enabling and assisting, and you always looking for it. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't, but we want the individual to know we right here for you, man. 1, 2, 3, 4, how many people you need, what kind of circle of support do you need to surround you so you could be as most confident in whichever step that you're trying to take. Some people are like, like kids learning how to walk. They say, hey, man, get off me. I don't need you to hold your hands. Like, I want to walk myself. I want to ride my bike myself. Take your hands off the training wheels. Take your hands off the steering wheel. So we try to give them enough room to be themselves, but at the same time, we have an objective perspective about what they need. Because the ultimate goal is to help them get to transition into their own life. That's the ultimate goal. We don't want you to get so comfortable and dependent on us where you stand at the transition house indefinitely. That defeats the purpose.
Yeah. To add on also what Mecca was saying, that SCSG, we got a partnership with Dame Chicken and Waffles. So automatically, if a person is able to work and he comes to the transitional house, he automatically go to Dame Chicken and Waffles and he could get a job. Okay. So, and that's what we do. I think it's something similar to what Sean was saying, how, we be boots on the ground, finding these different places where people could work at, and we try to get a connection with these people so they will be able to hire these individuals coming out. Because we are their mouthpieces, you know what I'm saying? So we'll try to talk to the person who runs the company, and we ask them about, hiring this individual, and why should they hire this individual, and what they look for when they hire this individual. So, like I said, we got a partnership with Dame Chicken and Waffles already, though, in Durham, North Carolina.
That's good. Now, this was 2024, and maybe since 2020, a lot of us started understanding or trying to understand financial literacy. Now, do y'all have anybody in the house or around that can teach inmates about financial literacy? Not only just saving and investing, saving, but investing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have people who can teach the fundamentals of financial literacy, starting just getting a bank account, open up a checking and a savings account, and teaching them the difference between if your output If you spending more money than you earning, then you losing. But we also find that some of the individuals that we serve, they have a keen interest and go deeper with financial literacy. They want to know
Right.
how to invest money. You know what I mean? They want to know about stocks and bonds. They want to know about trading. So the more we learn about that individual's motivation towards these things, then we have people we contract with. We have people that volunteer. That's always on deck saying, hey, when you want to, I'm a banker. You could bring those guys to my bank and I manage the bank. I sit down and I talk to them ABC 1, 2, 3 about what it means to actually bank, like what to look for with a bank, and all those things. I mean, how many of us thought about when you first coming out of prison, you just glad you out,
Right.
right? That's it. And you stay stuck in I'm glad I'm out for a long time. And if you don't got somebody that you trust to whisper in your ear and say, yo, wake up, man, wake up, you raw out, they're not counting you no more. It's time to go. Let's go downtown, man. Let's go to these institutions because you need health care. Hey, Sean, you work for Fit, man. I got a guy, he need health care, man. He ain't seen a dentist, man, in a long time, man. He ain't had a checkup in a long time. You got to be reminded of yourself in these different ways.
And that's it, man. And then, you call me about healthcare, I'm gonna tell you about the free dentistries, with the free vaccinations, how I can get you signed up. Any medical health providers, I can get you signed up and take care of that. Just getting you in touch with primary care. Hey, you ain't got insurance. You know what? In North Carolina, we're using epass.gov. I can get you Medicaid in 5 minutes. Just sit down with me right fast. And it's just the resources and the knowledge, and all of us bring different things to the table. But that's the one thing. Once you connect it, you got to stay connected. You know what I'm saying? And that's the only way we're gonna better serve the population.
Right. And I asked that question because always people say you are where you are, and I always feel like I've been behind. Going. I got a tattoo that says "time wasted" on my arm. Just come from me doing time. And a lot of times I always felt like I was behind. So when I started learning about investing and stocks and all that, and I come to find out, people who've been to college, got degrees, and a lot of them don't know about it.
That's right.
And so
Yeah.
I try to use, everything I learn, I try to pass it on, want people to learn with me and just grow from that aspect. Because a lot of us as blacks, we didn't know about financial literacy coming up and still don't. Our parents didn't teach us, their parents didn't teach them. And so it's a good thing to know. So that, yeah,
Man, it's
go
so
ahead.
many things, Leon. That's why, again, if we don't do what we doing now, it's information you have, I don't. It's information I have, you don't. And when we come together collectively, that's what a community should look like in exchanging that information. When we put all that information into the pot, man, Joker could find out his niche, his expertise, his motivation, what he's interested in, he or she, and they could come out of that meeting, man, with something that they feel like is their calling. And when you're doing something that you feel you called or drawn to, you got a different type of energy toward that. Because what's the relevance of if I've been going 25 years, man, cash was king when I left the street. So what are you
Mhm.
talking about credit, man? I just need to make some money. I know what to do with it. But
Right.
if I'm not around guys like say Mr. Malik, who didn't do nowhere near as much time as me, and he been out before I got out, right? And he tell me, hey, homeboy, check this out. I know your mindset. Cash used to be king, but it's all about credit. I'm like, man, I don't want to owe nobody nothing. He has to decide to constantly keep planting that seed in me and showing me why credit is important. Because initially I'm like, man, I don't want to owe nobody nothing. Who wants to live that way? So if we don't bring our real selves to these real circles and platforms so we could talk about real stuff, man, then transitioning is just holding my breath like I did my time until I get out the transition house and I'll figure it out then. And as black people, we have become the best at trying to play the game with a concussion. We operate from a concussion. It's never usually from a healthy, clear head. And we trying to eliminate that.
Right. And I was talking to someone today, with the election and Trump going into office, and one thing about that is people. What I said was we can't keep waiting for an election or things happening to talk about sticking together and growing. It's something that we had to do constantly every day as far as blacks, like growing, working together, getting things done. We can't keep waiting and can't keep waiting for people to save us.
100.
That's a fact, man.
Yeah. So what do y'all think about the election? Trump
Hey,
being in office.
I'm glad you said that, man. I know why you laughing too, believe. I mean,
Yeah.
Hey,
hey, look,
hey, look, bro. You know what I'm saying? I don't even want to talk too loud. I just finally got some peace in my house. You hear me?
hey, you know what's so funny? I was telling Mecca about. I think about last week. I think.
Yeah.
Well, whenever Trump got elected, right? You know, I was just thinking, right? Me and my wife was talking about it, right? And you know, a lot of people was talking about, man, Trump won, Trump this, Trump that. I said, hold up. Trump might sit in the seat, right? But he don't sit in the seat that God sit in. Trump can't do nothing unless God allow him to do it. So I'm not worried about nothing about what Trump said. They can say, well, Trump going to do this and Trump going to do that. Trump going to do a limited. He got free will. He can't do too much now. But really what killed me is that all the people that's so spiritually inclined, that say they love God so much, but they worried about what Trump going to do.
Wow.
What happened to God? What happened to
That
God?
That was my thought process too.
Yeah.
That's real, man.
And every time somebody called me, man, I bust their head with it. I had to.
Yeah. What happened to God?
What happened to God?
Yo, you know what, man? I got a saying, man. I done been around guys in prison, man, that woke up one morning and said, yo, bro, I'm putting in the transfer, man. I don't like this camp, man. I can't move how I want to move. I can't do what I want to do. I just don't like it here. And I say, well, what is it you looking for? I don't know, but it ain't here. And I say, you know what, bro? When you pack them white bags and you get on that bus, whatever you looking for, you better take it with you. Because if you don't bring it with you, it ain't gonna be there. And I say that about the election. I say that about everything that's going on in the world, man. Until we finally look ourselves in the face and say, man, I gotta do what I need to do for me, myself, my family, my hood, my community, my people. Man, how long we gonna be waiting on, man, for somebody else to fix your life, man? Iyanla Van Zant, Dr. Phil, Oprah, none of them can fix your life, man. You got to fix your own life. And that starts with you being honest about what role you play in your situation. And that's something, man, we got to do, man, yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's crazy with what you're saying, Mac, is what a lot of people don't understand about politics. It's about diversion. It's about division. It's about keeping people apart.
Yeah.
And until we as a people, and when I say as a people, until we come together and say, government, you work for us, we don't work for you, it's always going to, the division is just to make sure we don't come together as a people to say, hey, let's show these people they work for us and they have to do our will instead of we doing their will, because that's how it was supposed to be. But they have listened to Trump make his thing and Kamala make her thing, and then we divide. As long as they got us divided, everybody's not thinking on the same accord or trying to at least come to some common term on one accord, we're going to stay in situations like we're in right now when it comes to politics. And that's what they want. That's what the government wants.
And you know what? And you know what, too, man? I was just thinking about when Leak was talking about coming together. If you could just think about Black Wall Street, right? How we had so much when Black Wall Street existed, we had so much as a people, right? And we won't connect it to the politics stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? We came together as a people, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's what, and it could be done. History already told us it could be done. Black Wall Street. So I just don't understand, man. How we get caught up in this stuff, man. I mean, I just don't understand it, man. You know.
And this dealing with politics, man. You know, politics. You know, revolutionary standpoint, like as war without blood being shed. And in the midst of the thoughts and theories, bro, like our mind is so at war with all these different beliefs and everything coming at you, and it's a major distraction, like you were saying, brother. Like I'm not even concerned with the politics and the beliefs.
Nah, man.
Only thing I'm stuck on is the love of my people, my brothers and my sisters. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of us get so caught up into it. And like you were saying, Mecca, like, oh, this person's gonna do this for me. Oh, this person. When is you gonna grab yourself up by your own bootstraps and do something?
Yeah, man. For real.
You see what I'm saying? And it's that so real, man, because it's a major distraction. But the thing of the reality of it, everybody need to wake up. Because at the same time, you're dealing with politics. You're dealing with, you know what I'm saying, the war without blood being shed. The wars in people's minds. Look at just happening right here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Whereas when we got a whole sniper that starts plucking off cars on the highway ever since this fool been in office.
Right.
And this is the wars that's developing, but everything, we got to bring more awareness. This is what's going on. We need to get more right with our people versus stuck on, the election or what this man. Yo, listen, get right with God. Get right with your people. Bring more awareness. Learn how to protect your brothers, your sisters, your community, and get a strong standpoint from the political beliefs, because at the end of the day, like you said, it's a major distraction.
Right. Yeah.
It is, man. I think, I can't tell you, man, how much the energy it was like the day that I woke up to Trump being elected and all of that stuff. Man, it was a whole different vibe was in the air. I mean, and Scott was together, like, man, you see people's temperament and mindset, like they give all that power, energy to this ridiculousness, man. Well, you still got, let me tell you something, man, whether he in office or not, you still got rent to pay. You still got gas to put in your car. You still got stuff you got to do, man. So what difference do any of that make, man? It didn't go your way. You must have voted Kamala. It didn't go that way. You don't know what you're going to get with no Kamala, man. You don't know what you're going to get from no human being, period. But you spending all your energy trying to invest in somebody else, man. Invest in you. When you going to bet on yourself, man? Because the life you living is yours. Vote for you. Get your little box, man. Put some cellophane around it, little slit, man. Cast your vote for yourself, man.
No doubt.
Start that way. For real, man.
Hey, bro, it's so I don't even know. Hey, Mecca, Scott, did I share about you with what I see you the video and what happened at my front door?
No.
Man, listen, bro. So, man, I'm telling you, listen, the whole weekend was thrown off. So you got everybody trying to get you to go vote. Come around the house, knocking on your door. So Trump supporter, a brother, Trump hat, he's tapping at my front door. So Scott, you been to my house, you see I got the storm door is fully tinted.
Yeah.
So I'm just watching the dude just tap, bro. He looking around, looking in the window. I'm like, look at this fool. Bro, do you know this fool opened the door and tried to come up my house?
Wow.
Bro,
What?
Listen, let me tell you, y'all, it was about to be a whole situation. You heard me?
Wow.
That's whole crazy situation, bro. And I'm talking about, I sit there and told him, I said, you really want to die for Trump, bro?
Wow.
I'm talking about, like, for real, you really so brainwashed by the political beliefs. Once again, you got a war going on in your mind. There ain't no blood being
That's
shed.
right.
It's finna cause blood to be shed. But you so caught up in the political beliefs, you really the risk to come up in somebody's house to get somebody to damn vote.
Wow. Yo, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. And the crazy part, I'm like, he don't know. I'm still in recovery from the streets, bro.
Wow, that's crazy, there, boy.
Bro, yeah, I'm gonna share that video with y'all later on, bro.
Please do.
Yeah, man.
He might try to come over my porch.
So you got a ring camera on it, a video?
Yeah, bro. I have a real ring camera video, bro, from what happened, bro. It's man, I'm gonna tell you, it blew me so bad. Actually, it blew me that evening and my whole Sunday where I didn't even want to leave the house because I don't know what's going on.
Exactly. Yeah. What is that? What's that supposed
what's
to be?
going on?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, what they call you, Mr. Me? Is it Meeks
Yes,
or Me?
sir. Yes, sir.
Me. I'm stuck on something you said earlier. You said you was a correctional officer.
I was a correction officer, young man. Yes, I was.
And then an inmate or an inmate then? No, yeah, you couldn't have been an inmate then a correctional officer.
Correction
officer.
No, man. Yeah, I was a correction
Trump
officer.
president, he got a felony. He could go reverse.
I just listened to the same thing.
Yeah, you're right. Now, how was that? How did that come about?
Well, I caught my charge many years later, but I was a correction officer back in 99, 2000, and somewhere there. I was at Hope Youth Institution, Gladiator School, they call it. But yeah, that's where I was a correction officer. And man, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I got certified, I passed and everything, and then I put my resignation in, and it had nothing to do with the job. It had everything to do with my fellow employees, man. That was more like high school than it was a job, bro. I would honestly say there was more drama with dealing with fellow correction officers than it was dealing with, I hate this word, but inmates. It was more drama dealing with that because generally what I learned as I was doing that job, if you treated people like they were supposed to be treated and did a job, when you came on to do your job, there wasn't a lot of drama. Listen, as I would say every time I come on, as they got to know me, I'm here to do the job, and it was only 8-hour shifts back then. I'm here for 8 hours. They want to come to you and say, hey, we get to bring some stop. I make a round every hour. When I make that round, don't be doing whatever you're doing. As long as wasn't nobody hurt nobody. But I understood that the person had to live because that's their home at the time. So I didn't push, but it just got to the point, like I said, where the drama came in was really dealing with fellow correction officers. Some of them want to be tough guys that really wasn't tough guys when they took their uniform off, and watching how they move and how they treated, inmates, and then the dudes mad because you don't watch with the girl and they like the girl that you don't watch with, so they got beef with you. I mean, it was crazy, man. But far as the correction officer job, it's a job that needed to be done, and I didn't think it was a bad job. I just knew that where I came from, and I played some college basketball, I played some college baseball, so I had done things in life. I was a professional wrestler for 15 years, like a dummy, been all over the country doing that. So I had done some things, been in front of some people. So I wasn't a bully. I didn't need to shine on nobody. But a lot of people, just like fellow police officers, not all men bad, they get their job, and that power, their chest just swells up while they got them uniforms on, and they got to show that. And I just couldn't stand it, man. I couldn't stand that part of the job, man. So I resigned and got away from the job, man. Like I said, it was several years later when I got incarcerated, but yeah, I definitely did both sides. And one last thing I said, a lot of people used to ask me, because when I got locked up on state, a lot of the counselors asked me, so do you think we need to put you in solitary, confinement, or are you scared of it? No, man. I said, because if I ever ran across, which I never did, if I ever ran across anybody that I was a correction officer for, the first thing they're gonna probably do is shake my hand and say he was a stand-up guy. Because I wasn't that guy. So yeah, I used to get that question quite a bit. What, keep that to yourself, or you sure you want to? Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. Let me do my time, man. Leave me alone. I'm good.
Yeah, that's funny. Cause I was just talking to somebody the other day about when I came home from parole. Now you got some of them parole officers that make you want to go back.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And I had one of those. I had 3 years left on parole. I told my mother, my grandma, I said, look, I might have to go back and finish 3 years.
Exactly. And you got guards that do the same thing. Instead of doing their job as a guard, they think they the jury, the execution, and everything. So now they want to do a role that ain't even a part of their job. But because, like I said, they got that badge on and they got some handcuffs. And in prison, you had a stick. You didn't even have a gun as a guard, but you had the mace, and they just thought they could do any kind of way. And I just realized it wasn't for me.
Right. I'm gonna ask this question. I'm gonna go around and ask this question. I'm gonna go ahead and start with you since you're talking. After you had that felony and did your time, coming home, getting a job or looking for a job, how hard was it for you?
It was rough. It was rough. Now, getting a job wasn't rough because I had the mindset that I was going to do what I had to do. So I started with the 725s and coming home hurt me and then upset and all that. So it wasn't rough in getting a job. Now, a meaningful job was rough. And like I said, I worked with NC Works. I happen to be a veteran, so they had a veterans department. and they team. And one thing I will say as a veteran, even with a felony, some jobs seem to lean a little bit more, as long as it wasn't a violent crime. I didn't have a violent crime, to trying to help you. But I can tell you this: I used to work for a company. I don't want to call names. I used to work for a company where I delivered potato chips, and I had extensive history of doing that. And that's what I was doing before I got incarcerated. So I had 8 to 10 years experience. So when I came home, I would try to get these same kind of jobs. And man, I would get in these interviews, man, and they'd see my experience, and they would just be oh man, yeah, man, you got the job. And they would slide it in. Hey, well, only thing we need to do is a background check. And of course I would have to say, well, I need to let you know I'm a felon. And I just watch the color go out in their face. But what I learned, Mr. Leon, was this right here. For every 100 no's, I need one yes, and that's what I was looking for. One yes. I didn't let the no's discourage me. So when I went and hooked up with his brother at NC Works in the Veterans Department, he's seen with my extensive background and the kind of work I've done, and he did find a chip company that brought me in for an interview. And to this day, man, I never forget what this guy said. He said, man, I'm looking at your resume. He said, I don't even want to know about the job. He said, I can see you know the job. He said, but who are you now? That's the question he had. That's the question that got me the job. Who are you now? I'm not worried about the work, but who are you now? And then you're going to give me a chance to tell you what I'm about, what I've been through, and who I am right now. Well, go and give me my start date. And that's pretty much what happened. You know, that as soon as I got through giving my testimony and talking to him, he said, well, when you want to start? It was just like that. So a job for me wasn't so hard because I would take any job. I knew I had to have employment, but a meaningful job, I probably was out of prison almost a year before I got that meaningful job. And then from that, I just rolled on to it. I ended up buying my own truck and starting my own company. I put a guy who got incarcerated on my truck. And then I went back to school and got my CDLs, and I just kept rolling, man. You know, it's like Mick said, man, I was betting on myself, man. I wasn't sitting back waiting on somebody to do it for me. Of course, I needed somebody to give me a chance, but once I got the chance, I just kept the ball rolling.
All right. Good stuff. What about you, Sean?
Man, me getting out, I really didn't know what I was going to do.
I mean, how much time did you do?
I did 15 years.
15 years, okay.
Yeah. So me getting out, I really didn't know what I was going to do. Never really had like no opportunity in prison to pick up no job skills besides, janitorial work, cleaning up, sweeping, mopping, doing this right here. Just some basic janitor work. So I was out maybe 3 days, and I got a call from a fellow brother in prison, Mr. Frederick Washington. He said, hey, I need you to call my nephew. Listen, I know your nephew. I want you to go ahead and get with my nephew so you don't get in no trouble. He's going to get you a job cutting grass. It ain't the best of the job work, period, but it's livable pay. And just like anybody else, doubts, everybody throw you baloney. I'm saying, I'm going to follow up. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be true or false, I followed up with it. I was employed in 10 days. Full-time job, making a livable wage. And from there, it started a whole career for me, a lifestyle. And then I got into a bad car wreck. And then I started my own landscaping company, you know what I'm saying, which I'm still running now. And I moved forward, got some more training. I wanted to do some more development, even some more professional development on my end. That's what led me to get peer support certified and learn my other certifications and got me a job mentoring and also a job with NC Fit as a community health worker now. So it took me, I was out 10 days and I landed a great job.
Right. Good stuff. Somebody got some noise and something in the background. Maybe turn it down.
What it sound like?
I don't know. What you watching, sports?
No, I got a new cat. And he was sitting on my lap and he making that little purring sound. You might be.
I don't know. With Mr. Mecca.
Man, listen. I mean, I did 25 years, man. I worked out every day, all day. And it dawned on me. I was betting on myself, man. I took my exercise. I got my certification. I hit the ground running. I went to Planet Fitness. I started doing my penitentiary workouts, man. 2-3 people walk up to me and say, hey, man, I never see nobody do pull-ups that way. Are you a trainer? I said, yes, I am. I got me some cars made. I got me some clients. I started my personal training business, man. Along with that, while I was in Orange Correctional, the minimum custody facility, network has always been my gift. The same way I stood on corners and I networked and I sold my drugs, I transferred that into selling myself, man, in a more legal way. I got a job mentoring teenagers that I was dealing with recovery and had one foot in the justice system and one foot out. I started networking, meeting people, meeting parents. One person knew another person. I ended up with 5 jobs in my second year out of prison.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was grinding and I loved it because it was all me, man, betting on me, man. And I was hitting my shots and I was winning. And again, man, I'm community based. So one thing I did was always told other brothers, man, when I grabbed them, say, hey, man, you got to learn how to network, man. You gonna get so far on your own accord. And I started pulling them into different circles, man, motivating them to mix and mingle and talk to people, man. Your story has value. And I got into motivational speaking, man. People started giving me honorariums and invites to share my story, to share my motivation. What makes you so motivated and the next person not so motivated? I said, everybody's got different DNA. Everybody got different, they wired differently. However, with the right opportunity, man, people to do different things. So everything I did was kind of centered around reentry, man. Through fitness training, I was telling people about people that's locked up, man. Where you learn how to do push-ups in that way when I was in prison. So I was reintroducing a different imagination of what prison was like. But I also would tell people, prison ain't teach me this. This is something I taught myself in prison. So don't get this grand idea that us guys are coming out of prison with this training. No, these are trainings that we pieced together that we were so hungry for that we kind of went and earned and found on our own. And I just was one of the ones that bottled it up and brought it out with me. So those little types of conversations opened me up to different churches, Duke, UNC, uh, just a bunch of forums to talk about everything that we talking about. And that was became a job. That evolved into a job. And I didn't have enough time because my self-care was going on the back burner. Then I started toning it down. And I started trying to make other guys kind of help them step up and see that, man, you being out here, man, there's so many things you could do. You just need to be directed. And that's what all of us are saying in so many different ways, that where we sit right now is in particular seats, so we can kind of put them together and direct guys and girls coming out of prison in the direction that they may want to go.
Awesome.
Well,
Scotto.
yeah, my transition and job placement started a long time ago. I did 30 years in prison. Before I even got out, I began to work on myself. I began to try to place myself in a way whereas when I got out, I could be already employed by someone. So my job placement was STSG. I was trying to get that. I was trying to get that job before I got out of prison on work release, but due to my situation, I couldn't get work release. So, but when I got out, I was hired by Miss Elmore, and from there, me and Will began to start our own landscaping business. And from that part, I started doing peer support. I got my certification peer support specialist, my community health worker specialist, my community health worker certification, and other certifications as well. So it wasn't that hard for me to get a job because it was already in place already for me to get a job. But I mean, I'm everybody not fortunate as I am, me to have a vast support system.
Mm-hmm. That goes back to what Mecca was saying earlier, like just hearing from all of y'all and myself. Like we had that mindset that we was go get it regardless and not let our setback hold us back. And even with me coming home, I had an uncle and an aunt that I worked for, which ended, but I still was able to go out there and find work. I found myself sitting in a what kind of building was that? It's a building where you go and you're just looking for work. I was sitting in one of them buildings, and I was asking myself, man, how I get here? What am I going to do? But I had to find something to do. Even with being on food stamps, I didn't like that because I didn't want them telling me what to do, how to do, what I can make, and this and that. Get off that, and eventually worked at a warehouse, car drug warehouse. They found out I was a felon. They asked me why I didn't tell them. And eventually they saw the way I worked and came to work every day and did what I had to do and stayed on. They kept me on. So it's all about, when you coming home and you trying to, get yourself acclimated back into the world, you have to show that you really want to be out here and be a better citizen.
Man, Leon, let me tell you something, man. When it was cold outside, man, we ain't had no gloves on or nothing. We touching that steel, we lifting them weights, we wiping ice off the pull-up ball. It was motivated, man, to get out there and do something, man. The elements couldn't stop. Man, I took that same motivation, man. You couldn't stop me, man. Everybody said, man, you need to chill out. I said, no, I don't either. You where you want to be. I got 25 years behind me, man. Time ain't on my side. While I got the energy, I got the legs, I got the heart, I got the mind. I got to go get all I could get, man. And I'm still wired that way. And I give that away to other people who make excuses for themselves, man. It's so unfortunate you've been gone, however long you've been gone. But the world, Donald Trump, Kamala Harris, Barack, they're not waiting on you to figure it out. The world ain't waiting on you to figure it out. You're going to have to get in the game, man. And you're going to have to play hard to get where you trying to go. It ain't about nobody else. It's about you. And we there to assist you.
Mm-hmm. He done went out. He didn't went out, but he took me back with that that weight power and the steel and the cold.
Man, what you talking about? Hey, and you think about, man, applying that same motivation, bro. We used to get up 5 a.m, freezing temperatures, layered up, going to work out, coming back in. Coming back in, trying to take a shower, then go to work.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Then you got another thing you got to think about is even working for, what was it, 20 cents or 40 cents, 70 cents, $1 a day?
40 cents a day.
Yep. $1.
If you're doing that in there, you definitely want to come out here and do something.
The 725 wasn't hard for me, man. I was getting at the most $1 in there. I hear guys say, man, I ain't going that work for 750, but you're working for $1 in here. What are you talking about?
Man, you was in there cleaning toilets, so you don't want to go in here and fry these people chicken.
That's right.
Let's make it make sense, man.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's another thing too we be dealing with, man, trying to strip ourselves of these false egos and these false senses of pride and stuff, and who we think we are and who we want the world to put, to see us as, like, bruh. So they gonna mess with you regardless. When you start showing up for yourself, letting your light shine for who you really is, and not trying to fake in the front and be who you really are. I mean, who the world think you is, man. People gonna track to that, but nobody's gonna track to all these false sense of pride and egos and leaders be carrying around. Well, I'm better than this. I ain't gonna do this. Bro, you got to strip that stuff, man.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
At one point, I was throwing newspapers.
Oh man, hey,
you got to do what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do, man.
Well, you got a strong arm, bro.
Yeah. So it's all about bettering yourself once we go through the challenges of especially being incarcerated.
Yeah, man.
And not only being incarcerated, it's a lot of, like I tell a lot of people that I do tell, it's not a lot of people didn't have the setbacks that we had, but everybody have a setback, and it's all about, bouncing back and doing what you need to do, what you have to do.
It's all about that comeback, man.
Right. Mindset. Gotta have the right mindset.
Yeah.
A major setback. I mean, a minor setback for a major comeback.
That's it, bro.
Yeah.
We're gonna see if Mecca can come back, but give me something you would leave with somebody who's out there now, or who has been incarcerated, who's trying to come home and just make progress out here in the world. We're gonna start with you, Sean. What would you leave them?
Man, start loving on yourself, man. Strip away everything you think you are, man. Stop living in those vulnerabilities. Stop living in all that hurt and pains and frustrations that cause you to keep stumbling. You know what I'm saying? Start focusing on loving yourself more, you know what I'm saying? And start with a great part of forgiveness. And start forgiving the world, forgiving everything that's behind you and got you to that point so you can move forward in life. And a lot of times, we as people, and especially a lot of us men, we hold on to stuff for so long, but it's like a dead weight. You constantly looking around and you like, man, why I'm dragging? Why I can't really reach? You holding on to stuff that you just can't let go. and we start to internalize and look at it, dog, man, I've been carrying this around for so long. Start to forgive, man. Start loving on yourself more. Like, leave them people in the past, you know what I'm saying? And everything before you're going to become a lot clearer and a lot easier, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I say, this is what I'll say. I say, man, throw that pride away. You know what I'm saying? And don't be scared to ask for help. Everybody needs some help, man. You know what I'm saying? You got so many, especially us black men, man. We hold that pride, man. We don't want to say, man, look, I need some help, man. Could you help me? It don't have to be no money. You know what I'm saying? It could be something spiritually, mentally, or whatever it may be. I just need some help. Direct me in the right direction. Don't be scared to say, man, I need help.
Patience and persistence, man. Don't give up and be patient. It ain't gonna happen overnight. You know what I'm saying? So whatever you're trying to do, you're motivated to do, you know you need to do, stay persistent on it and be patient. And just like they both said, is understanding that we need help. I mean, one of the first things I did when I got out, and I didn't feel like I was crazy, and I wouldn't see a psychologist, man, because I had a lot of things going on up here I didn't understand. I just felt I needed an outlet, and I didn't feel family could do it. I wanted somebody just to talk to. And I did about 3 or 4 sessions, man, and it worked great for me. You know what I'm saying? So just like they said, get away from that stigma of going to see somebody like that makes you crazy, because it doesn't. Don't make you crazy. You just need to talk to somebody, and there's nothing wrong with talking to somebody. But yeah, definitely patience and persistence, man. Be persistent in what you're trying to do, but be patient enough to understand that it's not going to happen overnight, but it will happen if you stay at it.
Right. Look like Mecca can't make it back. Is there anything else y'all want to lead the people or say? Anything that we didn't touch on that y'all want to touch on?
I think everybody should give the email, you know what I'm saying, or some type of contact, just in case someone want to contact each and every one of us, you know what I'm saying, just to talk, or just to ask questions about peer support, or ask questions about community health work, or whatever, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to reentry. So I started off, man. You can reach me at, my name is Edward Scott. You can reach me at SCOTTED 6325@gmail.com. If you need someone that's need housing or any type of reentry, or they just trying to reacclimate back into society, you can reach me at Wounded Healers, which is WOUNDEDHEALERS North Carolina @gmail.com. And also don't forget 58 years of Prison to Purpose will be coming out with Mecca, Malik, myself, and Sean also gonna be a host. We're gonna have Sean on there too. So and we definitely gonna have you on there, my brother Leon. We're gonna have you on there too, man. And that's 58 years podcast @gmail.com.
Yeah, Sean Baker. I'm gonna keep it simple. Need anybody to talk to, any resources, any type of just motivation or any type of support, just reach out to me. 919-344-6283. My number stay open. If I don't answer, leave a voicemail, send a text.
Yes, again, Kenneth Me. I do. Hopefully, by the first of the year, I'm gonna try to have my nonprofit up and running. Like I said, it's called Fair Chance Employment, and the whole ideal of it is taking people from wherever they're at the point of employment, training, all the way up to meeting with employers and helping them get employment. My email is kcmejr1011@gmail.com. Again, it's kcme, M-E-E, not M-E, M-E-E Junior 1011@gmail.com.
And what I'll also do is have Scott, you can text me all that information so I can put it up in the description when this for the podcast, when people watch the podcast, and to be in the description also y'all information.
So everybody that send me the information, I text it to him.
All right. Sound like a game plan, bro.
Right.
Okay.
And as we end, y'all stay on for a second. All right. There you have it for another episode of the Impel Forward Podcast. And remember, seize the opportunity to grasp your dreams.